Thank you very much for having me and for the invitation to be here today. It's really, really a pleasure to be here with my dear colleagues of profession today and share a bit of my experience in the topic. Well, I am not sure, but you might read the title of my presentation and think something like, well, now she will open a kind of magic toolbox and give the way to make it happen. Yeah, I have to give you a notice right away that actually I'm not presenting a step-by-step process to have the most inspiring lecture or a free pass to become the new YouTuber of Austria or something similar. My goal for today is to share with you some of the experiences and the learnings I had during this year, and also, as Harvard said, during my coordination of this exciting project that combines also results from research and also talks and learnings and exchange with other teachers here in FH JOANNEUM and from other universities, and try to present you some practical examples that hopefully will inspire you to try something new, always considering your teaching style, your subject, your concept, and everything that is around your way of doing your teaching, but maybe fostering a more engaging teaching and learning experience for you and also for your students. So I want to start telling you a little bit how my journey towards innovative teaching and learning methods started. It was I have no pedagogical studies in my background. I started teaching in 2013, and I was with this burning feeling inside. How can I bring more meaningful experience for both sides in the learning process? Yeah. So I myself, as a learner, I am a learner from different digital sources as well, apart from books. And I complete different Moocs with certificates in 2015. And I started to be very engaged also in the topic of blended learning. So in 2017, I invite some universities to join me in this journey on enhancing innovation and modernization in higher education delivery. So since then, I wrote a project proposal and I got it granted in 2018. So Innovat project started in 2019 with 3 universities from Europe and 6 universities from Latin America, more specific, Chile and Peru. Well, 2019, we started the project, and the main activities for 2020 were related to teacher trainings in the partner universities, especially in Chile and Peru. We had a blended approach planned, face-to-face trainings, pilot Mooc, and face-to-face trainings to close. Well, I don't need to tell you the story of 2020, right? So we had the books, the flight booked, we had the training materials draft, we had the participants defined, but then, yeah, no travels were possible. We all had to go total digital, right? So that was also, what should we do? There's a EU funded project. We could put it on hold, but then we decided, no, now it's where we are supposed to really innovate and find ways out of the difficulties as well. Yeah, as we all did. Yeah, where we all did, and we all needed support this time. So we tried to find ways to really give incentives and course to help us all in this emergency teaching online, and we did it. So in May and June, not alone, of course, we started this journey into total digital, and we changed our approach. So for 30 people, that was the plan, of face-to-face trainings. We have then 300 people in webinars, and then 1,300 people registering for our Moocs. Wow, imagine we have teachers in the audience from 6 different universities, from different disciplines, different language. All the trainings were done in Spanish. What a challenge, what excitement as well. So we jumped in the cold water, as we all did in March and April, and we embraced the challenge. And I want to show you, so I had to record a Mooc in the middle of the lockdown and the pandemic. And this was a great exercise of adapting, improvising. This is my home. This is me. This is actually not a table. This was a box from actually H&M that was covered with some cloth. And then I have some furniture for my child. And this is how it looks like. So this is my teleprompter. This is my soundproofing system. And this is my living room. And this is how we can actually see that things can be done in a way of emergency. So yeah, these lights and the camera, if you're asking yourself where they are from, they're from the media center of FH JOANNEUM. You can always borrow it. So it worked. I survived. I learned a lot, and even more, I started liking some of this experience. So this is my first webinar ever for 300 people. I was really learning by doing, behind the scenes as well. Was a great experience. And this was our Mooc. And this is how we went to six weeks of trainings for teachers through a Mooc, and it was a great experience. And that's the result that you might like to see. Maybe a short part of the result. So prepare your Spanish and to see how I made it in the end. I'm not sure if you can hear the sound. Let's just check. Can you hear any sound?
Not yet.
No. All right. So it seems that in the I will just stop sharing and share it again to see if. Let me check if it works here. All right. Maybe here. Yeah. Now it's going to work. So is it?
Yes, now it works.
¿Cómo se define la metodología de aprendizaje basada en proyectos? ¿Dónde busco ideas? ¿Qué elementos debe tener un proyecto para desarrollarse de manera exitosa? ¿Por qué utilizar esta metodología? ¿Qué habilidades fomentaría en los alumnos y alumnas? Conocer las respuestas a estas preguntas es clave para inspirarnos a diseñar e implementar nuestros proyectos de aula y motivar el aprendizaje activo de los estudiantes.
Yeah, it's weird to see yourself in the video. So if I could do it, even in another language, I'm sure if you haven't already tried much with the camera, you will be able to do it too. And this is actually where it comes. Many of my practical tips of today that I want to share with you come from my experience that I just told you, together with my experience in teaching also here in FH. So my idea today is to share with you 7 practical tips and ideas that might help you to foster a more meaningful and active online education. Are you ready for it? So let's start. The first tip: create simplicity and consistency. one of the greatest things you can do, it's also the simplest. Yeah, if you consider each and every link your students see in your Moodle course, are they all necessary? There's often the case of too much pages, links, confusions, and students might not always know where to find the things that they need. So a more minimalist model and menu system on your course might make a huge difference also when it comes to the cognitive load. Yeah. So if you create a simple, clear, and linear path for models and materials of Moodle, might be a good tip to start building this simplicity and consistency. So here I can just show you one example. This is also my goal, to bring even more consistency into the models. So if you have within the models, for example, 2 readings followed by a quiz, 1 discussion, 1 activity, the students will know that in every model, every week, they have the same base structure, 3 things to do, and maybe even with the same deadline, 3 things to do every week with the deadline Sunday midnight, for instance. This consistency and simplicity ensures that they spend less time asking administrative questions like when is the deadline, where do I find the reading, and dedicate more time to the questions and materials that are relevant to their intellectual growth. Yeah. So we have just heard from Ms. Phillips how important it is to balance and to not give so much cognitive load to the student, so we can foster better levels of retention of the important information and learning that we want them to keep. Tip 2, justify your decisions. Yeah, let them know that you care. By going over the syllabus, let them know that there are reasons for the decisions that you make. Yeah, and that you really care about the class. So tell them why you choose this textbook or these articles. Justify your grading system. It really creates the sense that you are on their side, but that you also have high standards to this course, and they are also important. And they are meaningful, they are thoughtful, they're intentional, fair, and actually also achievable by the students. Maybe even invite them to this conversation, giving them some room to raise their opinion, as we just have heard, that would maybe give a great advantage in this participative learning, yeah, for the education experience. Have some weekly off hours to listen to their concerns and questions about the course dynamics. Yeah, this is so important, and sometimes might be that you have already been doing this, and there are interesting ways to do it when it comes to an online course as well. Here's an example how you could do a video explaining how this course works.
Let's talk for a minute about how this course will work. The course is divided into a series of chapters. Each chapter focuses on a broad topic, such as the generation and propagation of ERPs. You'll see that we provide a PDF of the lecture notes for each chapter. Rather than having one long, boring lecture video for each chapter, the chapters are broken up into several short videos, each about 5 minutes long. That makes it much easier to maintain your attention. After each of these 5-minute videos, you'll get 1 or 2 quiz questions. The quizzes are actually the most important part of the course. A ton of research shows that retrieving something from memory shortly after learning it leads to much better long-term retention. Also, the quiz questions will help you make sure you actually understood what was in the video and that you can apply what you learned to new situations. After all, what's the point of learning something if you quickly forget what you learned or can't apply what you learned? So make sure you put a lot of effort into the quiz questions.
So you can see here There are videos, not more than 5 minutes. After every video, you will have a quiz. This is a bit longer video of not more than 3 minutes where he explains a little bit more. But you can see the essence, why it's very important, why is it important, and where the students need to put attention, and what is the expectations as well. So this is a very important part, and we can do it, of course, only with the syllabus, but the video way, it's a very important. You can then keep it on the top of your course in a rotation a model, for example, so they always can refer how this course works. And then it also brings you there. So this human and this meaningful explanation of how you came to these decisions, right? So tip 3, build community with video introductions. So the ability of all students to identify with the group, to communicate with purpose in a trusting environment, and also to develop this interpersonal relationship is so important in any learning experience, but even more relevant now in the online teaching. So to care about this building community, about the social presence that is so important for the learning process as well, it's really, really important and can be done with in simple ways, right? So building the community with video introductions is one of the tips that I want to give you. For instance, this is an example of how it can easily be done using a standard form on Moodle. Yeah, so it does not need to be a complex or professional video. They can directly post a video on Moodle. Yeah, so as you can type a post or a link or a picture, you can also directly post the video, the maximum of 2 minutes. And this is also an example how I tried the semester with the students. So I asked them to, before going to the classroom, because actually I started this semester face-to-face, and I had 2 times with them in the classroom before it went completely online. I asked them, even though, to post a video, yeah, and to get to know 3 things about them. Yeah, and this is how it looks like when then they post the videos. Yeah, this is one of the students, and I want to show you how she posted her video, just a short example. And of course, I asked her, thank you, dear Lara. So she said that she would be glad that I can share it today.
Hello, my name is Lara. I'm 22 years old and from Austria. So 3 things about me. I first of all studied, worked and lived in Chile, in South America and in France. So I have lived and worked in Chile for 8 months and then traveled around South America. And I've studied in France for a year, so I speak French and Spanish fluently.
Yeah, and the video goes, it's 1 minute video only, and she continues also telling about some other experience. I got to know also that she was playing for the National Volleyball League here in Austria, and this is a great way I could see how it can connect the interest and abilities of the students and bring the sense of cohesiveness to the group. Also to start conversations. When they came to the classroom, I remember seeing some students asking her, oh, in which team were you playing? So it's also a very good way to start bringing the sense of connecting interests and abilities. And you can do, of course, it with pictures that describe things that they like. There are different ways of doing it, but video introductions are also very, very interesting ways to have other senses also involved. And you can keep these videos introductions at the top of your course and access at any point. Yeah. So tip 4, foster co-creation of knowledge. We all have experienced the importance of collaboration in our lives in different senses, especially now in this challenge moment. Yeah? And we also heard today how important is the collaborative and participative learning to provide our students a more effective learning for their lives and also for their careers. So through this interaction and the ideas, how they are communicated is how the knowledge is constructed. So sometimes talking to the screen filling might hinder some of our approaches to it, because if we are in the classroom, yeah, we have a different environment to foster some co-creation of knowledge. So how could we foster this co-creation of knowledge in our virtual classroom? You might have been using some of them already, or many of them. I'm sure that in one and another way you're approaching it. Any of these co-creation of knowledge or approaches that would fit better to your lecture. Apart from doing it synchronously in your session, we can also use our learning management system, Moodle, for instance, to foster it. We have forum discussion. We can do a peer review, the feedback, the reflection, the wikis. So there are so many interesting ways that we can use to foster the co-creation of knowledge. Regular group discussions, timely and relevant contributions are so important. These are really great ways to promote interactions and going beyond the mere description of a concept, but to reflect on each other's idea, right? And very important is the consistency and regularity. We always mentioned a little bit it in the tip 1, but when it comes to the co-creation of knowledge, it's important that it's also throughout the whole semester, throughout your whole course, it's happening, yeah, in a consistency and regular way. So you assure the cognitive presence together with the social presence and the facilitation of this learning with collaboration and co-creation. And here is an example of how you can also foster interesting discussions on Moodle using the forums. My dear colleague Denise Aiga, we teach together a course in the master program here in the Institute, and he is responsible for one part of the course when he fosters very interesting discussions. Yeah? And here is how is it done. The students are expected to post 2 contributions per classroom, one before and one after class, 24 hours before coming to the session, actually face-to-face or online, and then 24 hours after the session. Yeah, in this case online, but could be also face-to-face the session. So the first posting is referring to, there are some readings to be done before, there are some guiding questions, some leading questions, and the students need to answer these leading questions in the first post. Then they go to the classroom, they discuss, they interact, they go deeper in the discussion, and after the classroom, they also have a summary of their main takeaways 24 hours after each class. This is actually a very effective approach to the cognitive presence and also to the social presence for this co-construction of learning, because include consistent participation, prompt communication, the regular group discussion, and also this reflection on each other's answers and thoughts. Good. So the tip 5 is ask questions with online quizzes and polls. We also saw that how important it is to ask questions, and there are different ways to ask questions now in the online teaching. So you might have different ways to do it. And I want to ask you now to try going and asking 2 questions I have for you that actually relates to online quizzes and polls. I ask you please to go to either scan this QR code or go to the link. Maybe Birgit, you could be so kind and put the link, also the direct link.
I just posted it in the chat.
Thank you very much. And we will have 2 minutes to just look at the answers, right? I will then put it here for us. So I want to ask if you use or ask questions with online quizzes or live polls in your lecture. So, yeah. So we have 4 people, 7 people. So yeah, not yet. So we see many of, so I'm using Mentimeter now. So I see that we have some colleagues also that has used Mentimeter, Kahoot, others. Not yet. Yeah. So this is also a way to recognize how this can also work in your classroom. So we have this setup and we can see how many people are answering. The answers are coming automatically. Yeah. So it's great to see. So the great majority of you today has already tried. Yeah, and I think that's also important that there's a meaning behind using it. Yeah, we also discussed it shortly. Ms. Phillips was also saying it, how important it is to not overdo things or do things with a meaning behind. So let's go to the second question. Yeah. For each proposal, have you used the online to assess previous knowledge, to check retention after presenting a topic, to close a lecture as an exit ticket, as a graded activity for students to have fun and break the ice, and others. These are all ways we can use the online polls and the online quizzes in our lectures. So these are also examples for those that have still not tried it, maybe to try. Yeah, for these are just some examples. There are other ways where we can easily use these polls for our interaction. So it also not only is important to change. Sometimes we also saw the attention curve, so we can change the method, we can ask questions with a meaning behind, of course, and change a little bit and improve the interaction as well with the students. And this can be done easily in the online environment. I have been doing it actually even before we went totally digital in the classroom as well. So it was always working very nicely. So thank you for answering. I would just change it now. Can you see the presentation again? Good.
Yes, we see it.
Thank you very much. So here it's just like some examples how I have used it. I normally get to know my students as well. They are very international pool. I like to know where the degree that they're actually have as background, to know how I can maybe play with the content, and also get some insights for giving examples or the previous knowledge on some of their in some of the tools that they might need in the course. And I don't need to go so much into this. There are so many different online voting tools, and also Moodle. You can also use the e-voting tools for such quizzes and polls. So the tip 6 is build your own digital library. So many information on the internet nowadays, good and bad. So show your students where to find good content, what is relevant currently in your topic, what experts in the field worldwide have to say about it. Yeah, and you can also create your own content to tell them your story, to tell them your experience. Why not, right? So what I mean by the building your own library, it's bring videos, podcasts, open educational resources, Moocs, articles. All of them are sources that can be interesting and inspiring also for your students. So saw some interesting video on YouTube, listen to an interesting podcast, or found a brand new research publication, share it with the students and have it in your course. You can easily do it on Moodle with a single sharing feature. So you have no issues with copyrights, right? I am a big fan of podcasts as well because I can listen while I commute. So there's also a very interesting way when you put it in your Moodle course, for example, it can be used and also extend in the next courses as well. And you don't also lose relevant information that you read. And you can also classify and be also creative, innovative with your library. Maybe you can have mandatory, additional, inspirational sources. You can record your own videos, starting small, how this course works video, introducing yourself video, and maybe go further with also some main takeaways, videos, and content as well. Here's just an example I did last semester where I put this innovation toolbox. I named it for the students with videos related to the content and podcasts. I think this is actually very common to you. There's so big sources of digital content, and depending on your topic, you will also know better where to find it. And we know that the real world matters. So also companies in the field, what they are saying, what they are doing, what's going on here in Graz, Styria, in Europe, relating to your topic. You can bring experts interviews, what other teachers are doing in FH, or which research are being done here that might fit your content. This also can be interesting sources for your digital content. And last but not least, the tip 7, provide weekly or model wrap-ups. Yeah, point out the highlights of the week. We talked about different discussions, interesting forum activities. Point out the highlights, maybe interesting insights from the group discussions, results of quizzes, main takeaways from your content. It is really a booster in the teacher presence and also for the group cohesiveness, and even more relevant in the online environment, that you also close some models and some weeks, helping them also with this cognitive process and contextualization, what has happened in this model or in this week before. And it can be done in video, in text, yeah, in audio. I like to do it with videos, and my experience with the videos with the Mooc every week was very, very well accepted, and we can see it with the statistics of the videos, the analytics, and also with the number of views. So there are different recording softwares. If you're interested in how to make videos in your class, you can also contact the ML teams. You have a lot of courses, so go there and do it. I did many of them and I recommend it. So my wrap up, my 7 practical tips and ideas. Build community with video eLectures, justify your decisions. Actually, the first one is build simplicity and consistency, justify your decisions, build community with video introductions, foster co-creation of knowledge, ask questions with online quizzes, build your own digital library, and provide weekly model wrap-ups. I want to close it saying that sentence from Henry Ford: coming together is the beginning, staying together is progress, and working together is success. So it's true for your lectures, but it's also, and the relationship with your students, but it's also true for us as teachers. I'm glad that we are staying together in the upcoming fishbowl discussion, and I would be glad if it does not end only here, but that we ultimately find ways to work together in this new challenge that we are all facing, and share more of what we are doing, of what we have learned, and try to find ways how can we together bring our students, our university, and why not the higher education to one step forward. So you can connect with me via LinkedIn, via my email account, and I'll be glad to know more about you. Thank you for your time, and I hope that one or the other tips can inspire you for a new way of trying things.